Miss Catherine Nunez,
Yes, it's me.
how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for asking. And how are you?
I'm doing fantastic as well. So, I will, of course, be conducting this final interview and I will be asking you questions about yourself. While you speak, I will probably be taking notes as well. And I hope that won't be too distracting for you. But rest assured that I will be listening the whole time, okay?
All right.
Also, if anytime you want to ask questions, feel free to do so. No problem.
I definitely will.
Perfect. And by the way, how do you want me to call you?
Kath will do just great. That's my nickname.
Great. So, Kath, tell me about yourself.
So, my passion has always been teaching. And when I graduated last year, I was looking forward to finally becoming a teacher. So, I applied to several schools and did some volunteer work. But along the application process, I discovered that on average, fresh education graduates could take 5 years to be granted a permanent position. When I learned that, I decided to explore other options. So I did a lot of research, interviewed some people, asked for advice, and my goal was to look for industries that align with my personality and skills. After some careful consideration, it led me to the call center industry. So here I am.
Interesting. May I know why it could take 5 years before you could even get a permanent position?
I'm not sure about other provinces, but in our province, there's this massive influx of fresh education graduates per year. The problem is, first, there aren't many positions, there aren't many job openings in schools, specifically public schools. And second, to get a permanent position in public school, we have to earn points. And to earn those points, we must do volunteer works. Some of them are paid, some are not. And unfortunately, this process could take 5 years. And I even heard stories that it could even take up to a decade before you could even land a permanent position. And when I saw that trajectory, that it could take 5 years up to even a decade, I decided to look for other options. So here I am.
And are you aware of the task of a customer service representative?
I am. Customer service representatives help customers by answering their questions or providing resolutions to their issues and problems. They're basically the frontliner of brands and companies.
And did you discover other fields, other industries aside from the BPO industry?
Well, I'm also considering becoming an ESL teacher, but call center is my first choice
Why?
because the tasks of a call center agent are more diverse. And the more diverse, the more skills I learn. And the more skills I learn, the better it is for me career-wise.
How so? How is a call center more diverse than ESL?
Well, with ESL, the customers or the students are paying to be there. They want to be there. They want to learn. So it's less complicated for the ESL teacher. But in a call center, the customers are calling not because they want to, but because they have to. Slow internet, defective products, they have no choice but to call. And these circumstances don't really allow them to be don't really make them happy. You know, they're annoyed, and some of them are even hysterical, I heard. So I think the harder it is, the more diverse the tasks are going to be. You're going to have to learn problem solving, negotiation, stress management. All of these skills I would definitely want to learn. That's why I'm here.
And what are you exactly looking for in a job?
I'm looking for a job that not only can sustain me financially, but one that I can be competent in. And I think that a call center workplace meets those needs.
So, what kind of environment do you like best then?
Well, for me, the best work environment is where I can collaborate and interact with other people. That's where my strength lies. I seem to have a knack for getting along with any personality type. So I would definitely prefer it to be like that. But if a need arises that I need to work solo for some reason, then I can definitely do it, no problem. In school, we're taught to be able to switch between solo and team projects. So working in both environment is not really a problem for me.
Okay, so how would you handle a dissatisfied customer who ordered a dress from your company and got the wrong dress instead? What would you do?
Well, I would have to tell her that the only option is a refund. But then if there's any way that I could make it better for her, like for example, maybe I could give her a voucher if the company allows, then I would definitely give her a voucher because it's an inconvenience. But at the very least, I would definitely express my sincere apology and probably also an explanation as to why it happened. I think customer really needs to hear that.
Pretend that I am that customer. How would you say it all to me? And let's say that you could give me a $20 coupon. How would you deliver the news?
Okay. Miss Sheena, we apologize that we sent you the wrong dress. Please know that this is not the experience that we want you to have. What I can do for you is I will process the full refund as soon as possible. And as a token of our apology, we would like to give you a $20 coupon code that you can use on your next purchase. And this code doesn't expire, and you can use it anytime. I also received a message from my supervisor that you don't have to return the wrong dress that was sent you. You can keep it.
Okay. And what's the achievement that you're most proud of and why?
Well, I'm definitely proud of being able to graduate college. It's not easy. To graduate college, you have to think long term. It's not a sprint, it's more like a marathon. So you have to be able to think long term. You have to know when to slow down to save your energy and when to push. And that's especially tricky when you're under a lot of stress, which you usually are when you're in college. And being able to graduate, for me, that's the biggest accomplishment that I had so far.
Give me an example of how you performed well under pressure and how you handled it.
Well, there was this one time when I was tasked by our instructor to represent our class in Buwan ng Wika. So it was an intermission number I was supposed to sing, and I practiced a lot for 3 days straight, but for some reason I lost my voice. It was impossible to sing, and my instructor, of course, wasn't pleased at all, and I felt like it was my responsibility to make it right somehow. So I told him that I would write a short role play, and yeah, I spent one long sleepless night to just finish that role play. And with some persuasion, I was able to convince my two of my classmates to act out my role play. And so they said yes, and we were able to present that role play at the last minute. Well, not last minute, but within a day before the event. It was successful. I would say it was great, provided the limited time we had. I was still part of the role play, but I was just in the background and didn't have any lines because I was hoarse. But I would say that it was a fun experience. At first, I thought it was gonna go wrong, but then at the last minute, I was able to redeem myself under a lot of stress.
I'm curious, what was the role play about?
Well, it was about two Filipino friends. One went to the United States, one remained in the Philippines, and when the friend from the US went back to the Philippines, the two friends met, and for some reason, the friend from the US could no longer speak Filipino until a crab bit her, and she accidentally said "aray." So it was it was a cheesy plot. Really, it's something that you would expect in a Buwan ng Wika event, but it was a last minute idea, and I just did it to have an intermission for a class.
Well, it's definitely better than not being able to present anything to your class, so good job. What is your greatest weakness?
My greatest weakness. Well, my greatest weakness would be that I talk too much sometimes. So much that it could get overwhelming for the people around me. Sometimes it's a strength because it would serve as an icebreaker in an awkward party, but there are times when it's a weakness because it tends to diminish my ability to listen to other people's perspectives, and that could be a bad thing. I think it has something to do with my very high level of extroversion. So, what I do to deal with that is I have a rule. It depends on the setting. So when I'm at a party, I definitely just allow myself to talk and to let loose. But when I'm in a professional setting, I have this filter. I try to practice using this filter so that I could, think before I speak. And it's a matter of practice. As far as I notice, I'm getting better and better at it, but definitely not perfect. But it's something that I'm aware of and improving on.
Really? And how's that working so far?
Well, you tell me. Am I talking too much right now?
No, you're fine. I'm not overwhelmed yet, so it's fine.
Okay, so my filter is working. That's good to know.
All right. So this is quite a tricky question, but bear with me here. Why do you think pizzas are round?
I don't think all pizzas are round. I think there's this pizza called Sicilian pizzas, and they're traditionally square. I love pizza, so I know this. But if you're asking why pizzas are usually round, I think it's for convenience. It's just easier to form a pizza dough with a round shape with your bare hands. When I make a dough, my hands would be like this. So that's naturally round. So you just cannot form a square. It would be awkward, and the thickness of the pizza would just be so uneven. So you have to form it like this, and it's just more convenient to form a round shape like this. Am I talking too much?
It's actually quite fascinating. I've never made a pizza in my life, and so I am actually quite fascinated. You can actually make a homemade pizza. In fact, I am curious. Can you walk me through the process of creating or making your own homemade pizza from start to finish? Can you do that for me?
Oh, my pleasure. It's actually quite simple. Let me share you my recipe, okay? So first, you have to prepare 5 ingredients. 3.5 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons yeast, 1 teaspoon sugar, 1.5 teaspoon salt, around 1.5 to 2 cups of water. So what you do is mix in the dry ingredients, flour and the salt, and in a separate bowl, mix in yeast and the water and the sugar. That's your liquid mixture. Once the yeast starts to bubble, that's the time that you can mix in the wet ingredients with the dry ingredient and then mix them all together with your hands or with a whisker. And then you can start kneading the dough. That's when you form the round shape. You just let it sit for 2 hours, cover that with a cloth, and then after 2 hours, it should start to form a huge mound of dough. And you have to knead that and flatten it until it would form a 12-inch pizza. But if you're more advanced, you can take advantage of the centrifugal force and spin it in the air. Whatever you do, the goal is to form a 12-inch diameter pizza. You have to preheat the oven to 220 degrees Celsius, and you set it to 20 minutes. Pop it in the oven, and then you just wait for the pizza to cook.
Wow, I'm definitely hungry now. I better end this interview soon so I could order some pizza. Yeah. All right. Serious question now. Why should we not hire you?
You should not hire me because I lack call center experience. On day one, I cannot promise that I would work like a tenured rep. I will ask questions. I'll probably make mistakes, hopefully small mistakes, but I will stumble definitely, and I will need the help of my trainers. So if you're looking for someone experienced, you would probably not hire me. But I'm a fast learner and I'm proactive. And I'm sure that as soon as I overcome that short learning curve, then I will be able to outweigh the cost of my training.
And are you flexible to work any shift, including weekends and public holidays?
Yes, I am.
Perfect. Perfect. And do you have any questions for me?
Well, just one. What is your favorite part about working here, if you don't mind me asking?
Okay. Well, I love that the company is people oriented. You know, the CEO, the managers, the management, whole management, they make a conscious effort to connect with their employees from top to bottom. That's what I love about them. They ask for suggestions, they're open to criticisms, and I think that's a foundation of a good company. And if you work here, you're definitely going to feel that on day one.
That's deeply motivating. I would definitely be grateful to have that privilege. Thanks for that, Sheena.
You're so welcome. So I think that's it. If you could just wait for this next interview to finish, and then I will announce the result by then.
Of course, no problem. Should I call the next applicant on my way back?
Yes, please. That would be perfect. His name is Albert De Leon.
All right, I'll let him know. Thank you so much for your time.
It's my pleasure. Thank you. Oh, Jesus.